guys, welcome to Pokemon Go Ahead. It's your boy Quaxley, and in today's video, we're going to be making predictions for community days for the year of 2025. I love making these kind of prediction videos because we get to have a little bit of imagination and also kind of add some other aspects to make community days kind of better. But before we talk about what we're going to predict, we need to go over everything that happened in 2024. Obviously, I made some predictions last year. I got the Alolan starters correct. That's no surprise. I also got Gumi correct for the month of June. That was also no surprise. And then surprisingly, I predicted Mankey for the month of November. If we were to count the recap for December, that's pretty much half the community days of the year. I know that doesn't count because that's like a free space for bingo, but hey, could have been worse. So obviously we're going to share our predictions, but before we do, be sure to subscribe. Let us know in the comments below which Pokemon do you predict will have community days in the year of 2025. And then also be sure to hit the notification bell, because if we know details about January of 2025, we'll let you know. Now let's go ahead and talk about the predictions. Whoa, actually, first thing we need to do, we need to list out some Pokemon that are qualified to have a community day. First and foremost, the majority of Pokemon that tend to have a community day are 3-stage evolutions. For example, Charmander evolving into Charmeleon, and then Charmeleon into Charizard. If it's not a 3-stage evolution, it has to be a 2-stage evolution that has a specific difficult evolution method. Magikarp evolves into Gyarados, but you have to have 400 candy to evolve Magikarp into Gyarados. We actually had a couple of community days like that, such as Swablu and Stuffle and Noibat and Magikarp from that example. Or if there is a type of an evolution process that involves an item like a lure module or a Sinnoh Stone, or if there is some sort of a specific mechanic on how to evolve a certain Pokemon, or a branch evolution like Eevee. And finally, the last kind is if a Pokemon were to have a regional variant. For example, the most recent community day where we had a Pokemon in its regional variant was Ponyta Community Day of September, where both Ponyta and Galarian Ponyta were in the wild at the same time. So those types of Pokemon could qualify to have a community day. So now we established that, now let's go ahead and talk about January of 2025. Starting off with Sprigatito. Now you guys are probably thinking, Quaxley, we just had Generation 7 starters for community days this year. Why are you predicting a Gen 9 starter instead of the Generation 8 starters? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. Number one, Generation 9 starters somehow were released last year before the Gen 8 starters did when they debuted months ago. So that's number one. Number two, not only I think it's Sprigatito for January, but also because it's a grass starter that has been featured in the last couple of Januaries. In 2023 of January, we had Chespin, and earlier this year, we had Rowlet in January. So I'm thinking for January 2025, it's safe to assume that Sprigatito is going to be the pick. Next up, we have February, and as I'm recording this video, we have a confirmed date, which is going to be February 9th. What we don't have confirmed is the Pokemon that's going to be spotlighted for this community day. I thought of a good prediction because around that season, we should be expecting Unnovator, and I had to pick a Gen 5 Pokemon for this one, so I decided to pick Darumaka and Galarian Darumaka. Darmanitan and Galarian Darmanitan are both really relevant in their respective types, but I think they need an extra move in the fast department or the charge department. It's kind of difficult to decide which moves they should have, so I decided to give both of them Hammer Arm because that's what they both could learn, and I don't think Hammer Arm's in Pokemon Go yet. I could be completely wrong about that, but regardless, a good fighting type move wouldn't hurt. And this recent March, we had a Litten Community Day, so if I'm going to predict Sprigatito for January, it's pretty much safe to assume that Fuecoco is going to have a community day in the month of March. And if evolving into Skeledirge, it would learn Blast Burn and Torch Song, which is an exclusive move in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now here's a really fun prediction for the month of April. Remember years ago we had a Swablu Community Day, and on that same weekend, Mega Altaria debuted because Mega Evolutions were a new thing back in the day. And now that we have Gigantamax Pokemon, I think if we have the same format where we have a community day Pokemon being featured with the exact same evolution having a Gigantamax form, I think this will be a really engaging community day, not just to catch the shiny in the wild, but for everybody that's out and about to correlate and to take down a Gigantamax boss. And that is Gigantamax Butterfree. So you're kind of seeing where I'm going with this one. Caterpie Community Day is going to be my prediction for April. Also, fun fact, back in 2020, when Pokemon Go trainers were voting for which community days they want to pick, apparently one of the options were Caterpie Community Day. But we all chose Porygon and Charmander to have calm days instead. But Caterpie was considered a community day option. And let's say we were to have a Caterpie calm day next year. I mean, first of all, Niantic likes to throw a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon to have community days to kind of do a little filler, so then they can have a balance of certain generations having some spotlight every year. If Caterpie were to evolve into Butterfree during a calm day, having the fast move Gus could make it slightly better. Having a Caterpie calm day with a G-Max Butterfree, that would be the only way how you can make a Caterpie calm day not only work, but to make it exciting. My prediction for the month of May of 2025 is gonna be Pikipek. I decided to throw in a Pokemon that has yet to be shiny in the game, that's not a starter, and that is Pikipek. The reason why I chose Pikipek is because we thought we were gonna have that community day this year after the announcement of Bounsweet Community Day of May. Because in that trailer, there was a silhouette of Pikipek. So it would be simple to pick a Pikipek for this particular calm day. Peter Piker pick a peckle of pickled peppers and Pikipeks. Wow, I made a tongue twister and it made no sense. But if we were to give Pikipek a move when he evolves into Toucanon, obviously the best pick is Peak Blast, which is the exclusive move that it learns in Pokemon Sun and Moon. And I don't know how good of a flying type it would in translation to Pokemon Go PvP stats, but it is the exclusive move and it would make sense. Next up, we have the month of June, and obviously, I cannot be the only one predicting this. This is like the most obvious one. I'm gonna pick Jangmo-o because I know a lot of people are. There's this pattern going on with dragon types having a feature for a calm day, and then another dragon type being shiny debut during Go Fest, and then having that dragon type have a calm day the following year. Since we had Go Fest earlier this year that had the release of shiny Jangmo-o, we're assuming that next year we're gonna have a community day featuring Jangmo-o and everyone will get the shiny. Literally, YouTubers were saying do not do raids for a shiny Jangmo-o hunt because they might have it for a calm day. So patience is key. You might get a shiny Jangmo-o during June. In a community format, possibly. There's a lot more, but for those who play Pokemon Go for a long time can understand about the whole dragon Pokemon calm day pattern going on for the month of June. But if we were to have Jangmo-o evolve into Komo-o, its final evolution, I think it should have the fast attack counter. Next up, we have the month of July. And if you guys have been watching my community day predictions video every single year, I always bring this prediction to the table. It's a very complex topic. The concept behind this is very complex to explain, and I understand that I get a little bit of backlash for this because it sounds impossible, but I'm not gonna stop predicting this until this happens. What if we were to get a Meowth Community Day that'll feature Kanto Meowth, Alolan Meowth, and Galarian Meowth? Number one, Meowth is a very iconic Pokemon because it is known for being one of the 3 members of Team Rocket in the anime series. Number 2, it has multiple regional variants. Other Pokemon have at least 1 regional variant, but Meowth has 2 other ones from Alola and Galar. And also number 3, I always bring this up because of a specific exclusive move that could be groundbreaking. Because what we like about community days is if they not only feature a Pokemon with shiny boost odds, but if they add a certain element to make it more engaging for Pokemon Go players to go out during Community Day. And I think if we give the exclusive move to Persian and Berserker Payday, you see where I'm going with this? It would be actually kind of cool. Now, why Payday? Well, first we need to talk about what Payday is. Payday is a move that Meowth, Persian, and Berserker can learn when they throw coins at their enemies, and if they defeat their enemy and they win the battle, they collect the coins from the ground and the trainer earns money. So if we were to translate that to Pokemon Go standards, it would be super cool to have a Persian or Berserker use Payday on certain Pokemon during PvP battles or raid battles or gym battles during a certain amount of time, and then they get to collect the coins when they're done. They could be rewarded Pokecoins depending on how well they did in battle and how quickly they are and how strong the Pokemon is. I think if there is some sort of negotiation or more specific planning on how to make Payday possible in Pokemon Go, this will be a great way to not empty out your pockets getting Pokecoins. you get rewarded because you also are building up some friendship with your Persian and Berserker by bringing them in battle so many times with Payday, a move you exclusively get for an event that you can't do anywhere else. I think this will be groundbreaking. Next up, we have August of 2025, and I'm going to include Quaxley. We had some water starters recently for the last couple of years featured in the month of August. So August of 2023, we had Froakie, and this year we had Poplio at the end of August. So if the pattern continues and we have the Gen 9 starters, it would make the most sense to include Quaxley that evolve into Quackavolt and have the exclusive moves Hydro Cannon and its signature move, Aqua Step. Now for September, I feel like September is like one of those months in Pokemon Go in terms of community days that are like the least hyped, in my opinion. So I had to like lower standards making this prediction. So I'm just gonna throw in Aron into the mix, which is a Rock Steel type. And if it were evolved into Aggron, it should learn the exclusive move Ice Punch, because it is 4 times weak to ground, and ground is weak against ice, so like, obviously, make it efficient. And yes, this has been around since 2017 as a shiny, and people probably have Aron shinies right now, even after Hoenn Tour. But I mean, again, we gotta lower standards when it comes to predictions nowadays, because they'll literally pick anything from previous generations that are already shiny. So again, generation balance, shinies that are already released. I just want to get some predictions correct this year or next year. You know what I mean. Next up, we have the month of October, aka Spooky Season. Let's be honest, Sewaddle was really great because it's a new shiny, but it was the worst comm day of this year because it was featured in October. It should have been like a ghost type. It should have been some sort of like Halloween themed Pokemon or something. So I really had to dig in deep to see what would work. And I really thought this through. Like I said, they usually like to bring in some Generation 1 Pokemon into the mix of community days, simply because they just want to balance out the generations, and they just like Gen 1 Pokemon. So I had to pick a 3-stage evolution for this occasion that fits the theme of Halloween, and you probably don't have this shiny right now, but maybe you do, or maybe you just need some more. I have decided to take a risk and make my prediction for October of 2025, Zubat Community Day. Okay, let me explain. Zubat Community Day would be interesting because Zubat sometimes spawns during Halloween events, but like, not really. And come on, although the shiny's been out for a while, it's still not an easy shiny to go after. Plus, it is a pain in the butt to aim for the thing. So with a ton of Zubats in the wild, it's a better chance to go after it. Plus, it's a bat, a poison type bat that's like a vampire bat for Halloween. It's just like a perfect theme. Yeah, it's not the best, but it would be better than a Sewaddle because at least it fits the theme of Halloween. Then we have the month of November, and this is usually a community day where they usually have something awesome to deliver before the finale in December. So obviously December is going to be like the 2025 recap. We don't need to talk about that. But we'll continue talking about November. Obviously, we had Mankey Calm Day with Annihilape's evolution. So obviously, we had to pick a really cool Pokemon that has a Pokemon debut when evolving into a certain Pokemon that has yet to be in Pokemon Go. It would be cool if we had a Pawniard Community Day. Reason number 1, the shiny is so good. It's blue, like it's so sick. And number 2, it sometimes spawns in the wild during certain occasions. So if you're sick and tired of trying to hatch a shiny from a 12-kilometer egg, then you can just stop hatching eggs and you can go for the Pawniard. And number 3, it evolves into Bisharp, but it evolves even further in Generation 9 with this really cool Pokemon called King Gambit. Even the name is so boss. I honestly thought this year we were gonna have the debut of King Gambit after we got Annihilape, but unfortunately that's not the case. So hopefully next year, if we were to have a Pawniard Community Day, it has to evolve into King Gambit. And it would be so cool if it debuted during that Community Day. Just like Clodsire did, just like with Ursaluna did, and, well, not Annihilape, but I digress. Also, if it were to learn an exclusive move, it would have to have its signature move, Kowtow Cleave, or Kowtow. Kowtow? How do I pronounce that word? K-O-W-T-O-W.
Kowtow.
Oh, Kowtow Cleave. I wasn't even close at all. And now I like to list out some honorable mentions of certain Pokemon that I was going to consider on this list that could have community days of 2025. So I'm going to read them out to you. I might as well put them on the screen too. I chose Magnemite, Sneasel and Hisuian Sneasel, Wurmple, Wailmer, Venipede, Horsey, Vanillite, and Pawmi. And those are my predictions for community days in 2025. So if you guys have any predictions of your own, let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because again, if we get some details about some community days, we're obviously going to be sharing on this channel, so then you can be ready for those community days for the upcoming year. Hopefully it would be better than this year, because oh my gosh, why did we have a Ponyta Conde and a Swaddle and Mankey back to back to back? That's just like, bro, come on. Anyway, that's all the time we have. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.